Which way did it go? I don't know. Which way did it go? I don't know. Welcome to St. Louis Organics Presents Who's to Blame? The podcast, episode 518, The Race of Sports. How's everyone doing today? And thank you for tuning in. If you're watching the live streaming version on our Facebook page, Who's to Blame, as well as our Twitter page at W2B Dre Montez, and on YouTube, Dre Montez. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you've had the opportunity to check out our website, or if you have not, feel free to visit www.dremontez.com. If you're in position to do some marketing advertising with our show, Who's to Blame, or Montez at Midday, please contact us. Or if you just want to make a donation to the show, there is a button for that on the website itself. All right, we got high fives in the building. Chest bump. Hug it out. Get that hug in there. You need that sometimes. You need that good hug, don't you? If you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. Old high school classmate of mine, wrestling state champ Rudy out of Sumner High School. Happy birthday to you, buddy. He's a truck driver. 18 wheels of dusters up and down the interstate today for you, good buddy. Also, if you're celebrating anniversary, happy anniversary to you. But maybe you just got your own shit and you're really just chilling and realize you got your own place and you did it yourself. Hard work, but you finally got your own spot. Congratulations to you. But what if you just feeling damn good? You got a good night of sleep. You woke up, got your walk on, had your coffee, and you're just feeling great, huh? Here's to you as well. Here's to you. Stay hydrated, of course. Stay hydrated, of course. It's that type of weather. We got to get in shape. As all my friends over the age of 45 have the best, I guess, health and exercise advice ever for people over 45 that have never, ever played sports. I love the fact that they give out health tips. I love it. What you need to do, you need to walk about 4 miles a day. I don't think you've walked 4 miles your whole lifetime, but now you're an expert on health and fitness. I mean, I think you should exercise based on what you do. Yeah. If you go hard in motherfucking paint, you need to work on your stamina and your energy and your strength. We get that. But if you just do a couple of things around the house and drive your grandkids around and piss your neighbors off, I think walking just fine for you. A lot of us get caught up in watching what people do your own age on TV and movies and the videos. That's them. They have to do that. But do you really need to be 60 years old, going to the gym 3 to 5 days a week? For what? For what? I mean, I want to know what you do if you go to the gym that much and you 60. I got to hear this shit. And you lifting and you rip. I got the God show, baby. No. I can touch my toes and swim and run without running out of breath. I think I'm doing pretty good. But to the rest of you, keep it up. Keep those knees up. Way to give 110%. When I go to the park, I sit down, smoke, and I applaud and give words of encouragement when I see people jogging or fast walking. Those are words of encouragement. There you go. Do your part. Here's our pillars of today. We're going to let it go. Ignore them. Give it time. Don't compete. Stay calm. It's on you. And laugh. Oh, that laughing is so fun, isn't it? I tell you, if you laugh every day and you keep account of it, if you laugh in the morning before you go to work and you write down, you laugh before work. Then you get home and critique your day and see how your day went since you laughed before you went to work. Or laugh on your lunch break. Hell, laugh at work. I think laughing is needed. I think I laughed the most the past probably 12 days than probably the past 12 years. There's been some comical stuff going on. Things you can control and things you cannot control for. sure. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you so much. If you just only listen to the audio and it's your first time checking out the video, hey, it's me, Dre. Or if you first time coming over, you always watch Montez at midday, we appreciate you. We appreciate you for sure. St. Louis Cardinal baseball. Oh, the homestand against the Braves. What I love about living in a baseball town is how valued as St. Louis is looked at, from baseball lovers that don't live here to Cardinal Nation that does live here, that doesn't get paid by the organization. I love going on social media when the Cardinals barely win or don't score any runs. I'm telling you now, you can go on there and get some mind therapy. Just go to Twitter anytime the Cardinals play. Some of the best baseball minds in America are Cardinal fans on Twitter. I mean that. I mean, they give you their valued opinion, whether you want it or not. They're going to hit send. They have a better lineup than you, better pitching rotation, and a better way to go out and get free agents. Cardinal fans, I love you. Round of applause. Round of applause. Who's to blame for that? Speaking of who's to blame, again, this is the podcast episode 518, The Race of Sports. And I say that I feel as though of all the strides that have been made in sports, from Little League to professionalism, we have seen the good and bad of this. From a parent to a player, from fans to the media, we've seen every angle you can think of in the past. I'm going to use my lifetime. I don't want to use my dad's or my mom's lifetime because that's their lifetime. I don't want to use my grandparents' lifetime because that's their lifetime. So in my lifetime, drastic changes I've seen. The inception and inclusion and the welcoming of the Afro in baseball didn't go over well. They welcomed it in. The embrace of the African-American ball player in baseball. They didn't accept it. We know the story. But there was a turning point in the 70s. There was a curve coming. Some saw it coming. Some people accepted it. Some people didn't want anything to do with it. In football, saw the same thing. In hockey, saw the same thing. Golf. We've seen the integration. Not just black and white, but just the race of sports. It is changing. It's going to continually change. But every time we get caught at that crossroad, why does it seem we want to go back to the beginning and start all over again? I don't want to go back down that lane again. So Michigan State and Indiana State decided to do something about it. I guess after they saw what everybody else's perception was of Irving Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, how the perception was across the U.S. and across basketball and across the media. You got Magic Johnson with that smile. You got Larry Bird with that unusual stare. And the way he talked and where he was from, French Lick, Indiana. There are no Cortezes there. There are no Shaquandas living there. But you get the point. You know what I'm saying, but that's okay. That's how it was then. It was presented that way to us. We're supposed to roll with it, and we did. The race of the game, black against white. Michigan State against Indiana State. Forget that. They're not going to do that. Then the game turned into something that nobody thought it would turn into. A phenomenon. It turned into a spectacle. They show the game every year in its entirety. Every year you can see the commercials the way they were back then. It's a different game. Then it evolves into the NBA. Then they get a marketing campaign out of this, how they put these two together. Is that what sports is trying to do again when it comes to the race of sports right now? Why does it always have to be that way? Have we gotten past that yet? Every time I think we do, something brings us right back in. It's like that line from all gangster movies that we've all seen. Every time I try to get out, they pull me right back in. That's why I think the race of sports is trying to do to us again. We should not be fooled by this trickery and foolery again. Falling for the okie doke. We should be better than that. Take a step above that. When you know how people are, we've all said that before. Well, you know how they are. All right. Well, I'm leaving at 2 o'clock because you know how they get. Okay. Everybody has made that statement. What's wrong with making that statement without turning into that situation of putting the races against each other in the mind of sports for a competitive edge, a marketing campaign, or for the clickbait on Twitter? I don't think we need that. I don't think we need this at all. You've had plenty of opportunities to really stick it to us if we want to play that game. What's going on in the NFL with Lamar Action Jackson is a damn shame. We've seen the treatment of domestic violence when it comes to white players and black players in NFL. We've seen the different ways things are handled. We see this all the time. We see it in the money game for the baseball player. We see it in the money game. The treatment of certain accolades. We see it in the game. But does it constantly have to be presented us in the form and fashion of the race of sports? Why can't it be just as transparent as it is as we see it? But the narrative is constantly changing. It always ends up being the bottom denominator of race. And it shouldn't be that way. I want to see a true negotiation tactic done to can be used as a thesis. It could be used for a curriculum. If this Lamar Action Jackson situation goes the way it should go, no agent, even though it's only 3%, but show how to go get the bag the way it should be done. Here are the steps. Here are the obstacles. Here's the outcome. This could set a really true high significant precedent, not just for the quarterback, but for the African Americans across the whole board as a whole when you're trying to get what you think you should be paid without bringing up the race of sports. We can put the comparisons up on how much this athlete get paid, that athlete, but in the middle, we're just going to put their race. They do it every time. Football is really, really pushing the envelope on this as far as the treatment. Well, we don't care about race when it comes to health and safety of players. They treat all races horrible in football when it comes to that. But the state of play and the race of sports, as they're trying to give it to us, I don't think it should be done that way. And if we go to the origin of this, it's going to bring back some horrific stories of your early days of playing little league sports. Those conversations you didn't tell your parents about. I'm not talking about the sexual stuff, but I'm talking about the words of encouragement as far as to have that competitive edge. When you're playing a particular sport and you're a child and the opposition that you're playing against looks totally different than you, you're only 8 to 10 years old. Do you know the shit your coaches would tell you? See, nobody talks about that. But everybody wants to say, well, it starts in the home. Well, if you've been playing ball for over 20 years, a majority of you have spent more time with your coaches than you have at home. So what you learn at home is how to eat and sleep. The shit you were told as a kid from the age of 8 to 10 years old, when you're looking across and you see the opposition looks different than you, your coach would say you some shit you cannot repeat today. But I learned that in the home. No, I did not learn that out there on the field with that coach right there, that man right there. So fast forward now. We got cameras, got audio. You let old Nolan take care of it in New York. We got facial recognition out there. You're not getting away with nothing. So what are the words of encouragement now? Let's win this ring. Let's win the championship. Let's go all the way. Let's get that money. What is the reward for winning today when they always trying to push the race of sports in our face? It's like, what's that? The summer of 88, I do believe, the year of the neon tight yoga pants that they were selling like generic, but we didn't know that back then. We just thought if you bought them, you bought them. That's the year the big ass explosion and those horrible looking pants. It's like that. It's like that. Every time they bring up a good segment for what we just watched is a competitive game, and they want to point out something that nobody's paying attention to, but they want to make that the focal point. Come on. What about the game? What about the performance? What about the backstory? What's coming next? It's happening across the board. Across the board. Football is really taking a beating of the shit on this one because they missed the golden opportunity. Yes, they pulled the Kansas City shuffle on us. When they made us look left, there was a whole bunch of shit going on to the right and behind us with the NFL. They missed a complete boat on that situation. The NBA, they seem to handle it a little bit better, but the verbiage when it comes to the international player is still involving race. Still involving it. Hockey just deals with it plain and bluntly as it can be. The only thing hockey needs to get in trouble for the mishandling of what happened with the Chicago Blackhawks, and I don't want to get into that. But for it is the race of sports, I still can't believe that that is a trending topic of discussion. Morning, television, paper, and social media. Why? It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. There was a couple of TV shows I watched. They put something in front of your name to describe you. That's Crackhead Chris. Why I just can't be Chris? We have grown to this nature for some reason. How do we get out of it? How? Through what resources? Through what tools? This has been going on since the beginning of the time. I'm telling you, your child ain't going to tell you. Your child is not going to tell you. But if a child has played sports between the ages of 5 and 8 years old and the opposition looks different, your coaches say some foul shit to you to motivate you. Then you get 8 to 10, it gets a little bit more serious. Now, by the time you playing 12, you have your own mentality every time you see the opposition looking different. Every time. Every time. What changed that psychological thought? What process right there? What name is on it? What theory? What doctor should be accredited with this? We give them credit for every damn thing else. But what about this? Who should get credit for this? Because the color of sports needs to change. And who's to blame for that? Media, players, coaches, the fans? Or is it on all of us? If you watch a Disney movie, you listen to a feel-good song from the 90s, or a good rom-com, we can figure it out with 12 minutes left in the movie on what to do. I think we're getting close to that 12 minutes. And we got to figure out on how to fix this verbiage moving forward when it comes to participating in sports, competing at a high level, highest level you can, watching it, enjoying it, talking about it, being involved any way you can. It just seems to the point it's more harm than fuss. And it should be a pleasurable thing. It's therapeutic to watch it, to play it, to talk about it, to strategize it. Figuring it out, the X's and O's, is way beyond that. It's way more letters in the alphabet than X's and O's, but it's a great coaching push. When the game is more than X's and O's. I know, coach. I know. Well, that's what I'm saying about the race of sports. It's more than that. And we've been shown this time and time again from any level, from the videos that you share of your own kid playing Little League to your child figuring out the skill set as they get a little older in their teenage years, to playing college sports, to being on national television, to acquiring an NIL deal, to playing professionally for money, to having your friends and family, one section of the game, waving at you. All that's involved. But it all can be lost at one hint if it's taken out of context the wrong way, which we have seen. And who's to blame for that? This all could have been easily taken way too far. But I'm glad it stopped way before it went too far. But I still think it's one of those conversations that needs to continually be had. When you're playing sports for that competitive edge, does it have to come to race for you to be competitive? Does it have to come to that? Shouldn't have to. The things you hear when you play sports, from the time you play to the end of it, Richard Pryor, Dolomite, George Carlin wouldn't have shit on the things we've heard. If people say they talk that way to college athletes, or they talk that way to baseball players, they talk that way to football players, they talk that way to 8-year-old kids. Yes. So the language goes both ways. The barrier goes both ways. So this shit here, this shit here, this shit here, this shit here, all that shit all over the place. It's all over the place. It's all on how you interpret it, what you going to do with it, and now what? Well, my all-time favorite, fuck around and find out. But in the end, I will always say this. Who's to blame when we get to that point? When we break it down to its purest form, right there, for sure. Again, thank you for tuning in. It's your boy, Dre Montez, and it's been another episode brought to you by a title sponsor, St. Louis Organics, located at 8088 Watson Road. Stop on by, say hello, tell them Dre Montez sent you. Again, this has been episode 518, The Race of Sports. Until the next time, kids, have a good day. Peace. All righty, then, good people. All right, that recording's going. Yeah. Well, guys, I'm going to let you get on and watch some time for some Cardinal baseball. Let's go watch the game, Willie and I. To the rest of you folks, enjoy, and thanks for tuning in to the show today. It was a lot of fun, a lot of fun, as always. Peace out. We out.